Good morning. As I was looking through the news this morning, I found what I seem to see as an encouraging article. It's involving U.S. military basing Taiwan and China. I've been saying for a long time that it's important that we show a strong hand. Not too strong, we don't want to start anything. But we got to let China know that Taiwan is our friend, our ally, and we've got to make sure that Japan and the Philippines both know we got your back, guys. We're here 100%. This article goes into a bit of that, and it also kind of into a strategy that I've been a proponent of for a long time. Let's get into it. China blasts U.S. plans to set up bases, missile units in Japan and the Philippines in the event of a Taiwan contingency. New deployments of units to be incorporated in joint operation plan of Tokyo, Washington next month. Also the Philippines. China on Monday blasted plans of the U.S. to set up military bases and deploy missile units in Japan and the Philippines in the event of a Taiwan contingency. Beijing firmly opposes countries using the Taiwan issue as a pretext to increase military deployments in the region, which only stirs up tensions, fosters confrontation, and undermines regional peace and stability. Foreign Ministry spokesman Mao Ning told reporters in China's capital. But you guys flying hundreds of military aircraft through Taiwanese economic development zones, through the Straits of Taiwan, along their border, activating military alerts, confronting their ships at sea, confronting Filipino ships in the open sea. In international waters doesn't confront anything? Okay. Just need to know where we stand. Continuing. The new U.S. bases are said to be established along the southwestern Nisei Islands chain, where the U.S. Marine Littoral Regiment will be deployed, stretching from Kagoshima and Okinawa provinces in Japan towards Taiwan. Okay. This goes along with my strategy of beefing up U.S. military presence in the area. Not quite to where I'd like it to be, but it's a good step, and we'll go a little bit more in depth. But let's continue with the article. China considers Taiwan as a breakaway province and has pushed back what it calls interference in its internal affairs, state media said. A little too far. The Japan Self-Defense Forces are expected to mainly engage in logistical support for the Marine unit, including supplying fuel and ammunition. The U.S. Army will also deploy long-range fire units of its multi-domain task force, which is designed to operate in a multi-domain environment, including air, land, water, space, cyber, and information in the Philippines. This kind of goes into where war is going. We saw recently the testing of the intermediate-range ballistic missile from Russia hitting the Ukraine. China has thousands of missiles, short and medium range, designed to hit Taiwan. This is a good tit for tat. We don't have the missile inventory to counter China in any way, but it's letting them know. And as we'll go into, the formation itself is key. And it's getting there. According to the plans, Tokyo and Washington will incorporate the new developments in their first joint operation plan scheduled to be formulated next month. The key to maintaining peace and stability in Taiwan Straits is adherence to the One China principle, Mao asserted. Mao, however, said China highly appreciates Russia's stance in support of the One China principle, as well as just stance in opposing the use of Taiwan Island to contain China. She said, responding to Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko's statement that the U.S. is using the island of Taiwan to stir crisis in Asia, violating the One China principle and strengthening military political contacts with the island of Taiwan under the excuse of maintaining the status quo and increasing arms sales. We really appreciate your input on this matter, Russia. We'll take it under advisement. Russia. So, where is this island chain? Because you want to know where things are when you're looking at what might be happening. So we get in the old Google machine. The Nancy Islands. You can only really see half of it here, unfortunately. But it runs down all the way. Let's just eliminate this. It runs down from Japanese mainland, Kagoshima, Okinawa, and ends here, right where my cursor is at the bottom of your screen. 100 miles from Taiwan. Obviously very close. And we read in the article, the Marine Littoral Regiment. The Marine Littoral Regiment is a new formation. I was looking this up because I wanted to kind of find out what is a Marine Littoral Regiment. Most people are familiar with the Marine Expeditionary Unit. They're the ones on the ships, floating around, ready to invade. Large force you don't want to mess with. The Marine Littoral Unit is a little different. The Marine Littoral Unit is part of the larger force intended to remedy challenges created by the continued evolution of the character of warfare, specifically the proliferation of mature precision strike regime. As we go through this, we're going to find that this Littoral Regiment has infantry, but it also has a very intense anti-air and a large missile contingent. This is off the Marine website, and I will be sure to link it with the story. An MLR is a self-deployable, multi-domain force optimized for the contact and blunt layers. It will persistently operate across the competition continuum to support the joint forces' role in assuring allies and partners, deterring adversaries, conducting the enabling the force joint contact, blunt, and surge activities. We go through, and it kind of explains what the MLR does, what is consisted of, and its capabilities. Low signature, persistent, blunt layers, relatively easy to maintain and sustain as part of a naval expeditionary force. MLRs will leverage the full ability of amphibious platforms, connectors, and boats, and significantly, the Navy and Marine Corps will field a light amphibious warship to enhance MLR mobility and sustainment. And this unit was stood up in Hawaii, where it began training. As we go through, Littoral Combat Team, an anti-air battalion, and a combat logistics battalion, consisting of the approximate size, right here, the approximate size of an MLR is anticipated to be between 1,800 and 2,000 Marines and sailors. This is it's almost coincidental, maybe and maybe not. The Marine Littoral Regiment really resembles, in many ways, the Fleet Defense Forces of the late 30s and early 40s that were used in garrisoning some of our islands. This goes through the difference between an MEU and an MLR, sizes, command structure, composition, subordinate elements, aviation, logistics, signature, mobility, operational agility. Of course, this will be linked, and this is from the Marine Corps' website. We love the Corps. Again, it's very reminiscent of the first Marine Defense Forces that were used in the defense of Wake Island. Now, those units didn't end well for them, the Forsaken defenders of Wake Island, but it sends a very strong message. It sends an incredibly strong message, in my opinion, that we are here to stay. I actually do kind of feel that these guys in the future will probably actually be on Taiwan itself, just like the First Marine Defense Force. I have an image of their patch here, if I can actually bring it up. We'll see if I can. No. All right, never mind. Not a big deal. I'll actually make it the thumbnail. But yeah, the U.S. is stationing a Marine Littoral Combat Regiment, and some Army forces will be in the Philippines. There's other stories on this website. It's a Turkish website. Of course, it will be linked in the comments. It's a good story. We are definitely not backing down when it comes to Taiwan. We're showing the Japanese that we got your back, you got ours. The Filipinos, the same thing. We just recently signed a new defense agreement with the Filipinos. I know the Japanese Self-Defense Force has been reorganizing, and they have light combat teams very similar to the Marine Littoral Regiment there in the same area. So the only thing is now we're going to be fighting from hundreds of miles away, shooting missiles at one another, just like the Russians did with the Ukrainians. That's just the start. We've obviously saw it with Iran and Israel. We now saw the next escalation of what that will look like with Ukraine and Russia. Let's hope we don't see the third evolution of it between the United States, Japan, Philippines, Australia, all of our Pacific allies versus a belligerent China trying to reunite with Taiwan. Also, I anticipate this Marine Littoral Regiment on Taiwanese soil for the simple fact that if something were to happen, we want to make sure that that chip factory isn't a Chinese chip factory. Interesting times we live in. This might be the next step. We'll see. Thank you.